This case is a joke, frankly, and I've litigated against this office for 33 years. This case is an absolute joke. These are people that hate me, they're saying this. Can you imagine if they liked me, how good they'd be? And a liberal Fordham University law professor writing in the New York Times called the case a disaster, a legal embarrassment, and a setback to the rule of law and order, and a really bad thing for New York. And businesses aren't going to move into New York because of what they're doing. Their legal system is shot. It's a joke all over the world. But when I walk into that courtroom, I know I will have the love of 200 million Americans behind me, and I will be fighting for the... That's right. That's right. And I will be fighting for the freedom of 325 million Americans. This election is a choice between the Biden fascist state or the American Republic. It's called, we are going to make this country so great again, and we're going to do it fast. We're going to do it really fast. You know, right now, millions of people are entering our country from prisons, from mental institutions. They're coming from all over the world, all over the world. A vote for Joe Biden is a vote to end the rule of law, and it's a vote to destroy America as you know it. A vote for Donald Trump is a vote to save America's future, a vote to save American democracy, and a vote to save American freedom. And as I say, and I've said tonight, and I'll say it again and again, and I mean it so much, you know, when we had a beautiful November day, 2016, we won an election, and people are still angry about it because we weren't anticipated. They rig everything. We weren't anticipated to win that election. And what I've done to insult them is we won that election, and then we did much better in 2020 than we did in 2016, getting millions and millions of votes more. But this is going to be really special because I will tell you, 2016, we had spirit like nobody's ever seen before. 2020 blew the spirit away of 2016. We had, not only did we get millions more votes, I think the spirit was even greater. But now, because we've seen how bad they are, added to the fact that you like the job I do, you like the fact that countries respect us, you like the fact that we were energy independent, and all of the things. You like the fact that I got you the largest tax cut in the history of our country. And they're going to raise your taxes by 4 times. 4 times, think of that. Take your taxes and multiply times 4. That's what you're going to be paying if this person gets in. But I say this, and I say it, I said in 2016 that this is going to be the most important election we've ever had. But I say now, because 2016, I won to a certain extent on the border. And then I fixed the border. And when I fixed it, I wanted to make speeches in 2020 about the border. And my people said, sir, but the difference is I listen to myself. I don't listen to anybody. He listens to his people. He listens to his communist handlers, okay? He does whatever they want him to do. But my people did say, sir, they don't want to hear about the border. You fixed it. I said, I want to talk about the border. They said, sir, you fixed it. We went on. We had an unbelievable election, getting millions more votes than we did in 2016. But the election was rigged. The election was rigged. Pure and simple. 2020 was rigged. It was a disgrace. We can never let it happen again. The difference, though, is this is compared to 2016 and the border. This border is 100 times worse. This is the worst border of any country in the history of the world. There has never been a border like this where millions and millions and millions of people are coming in totally unchecked and unvetted. The American people are going to stand up, and they're going to stand up to the lies and the witch hunt and the corruption of Biden. He is the most incompetent president in the history of our country. He is the most corrupt president in the history of our country. And he is the worst president by far in the history of our country. And we have to get him out. On November 5th, we have to get Biden the hell out of office and send him back to wherever he comes from. We have to get him out. Thank you very much. We have to get him out. You know, you look at all the things that are happening, everything, the whole world is ablaze. You know, it's interesting, Viktor Orban, who's the Prime Minister of Hungary, very strong guy, very strong person. I think happens to be a very good person, but a very strong person, doesn't play games, didn't want any illegal immigrants in his country. You know, then they say, oh, he's such a bad... Well, they asked him 3 weeks ago, what's going on with the world? What's going on? Everybody's fighting. Russia, Ukraine, Israel, the Middle East is blowing up. Everything's blowing up. China's going to be next with Taiwan because of weakness. China's going to be next. What's going on? He said, bring Donald Trump back as president and it'll all stop. It'll all stop. He said it. And he said something else, and I wouldn't say it because I wouldn't really like the word. China was afraid of Donald Trump. Russia was afraid of Donald Trump. Everybody was afraid. I don't want to say that. I want to say they respected me. But the fact is, none of this stuff would be happening. None of it would be happening right now. We'd have a country that would be peaceful, prosperous. We would have had no inflation. Inflation was caused by energy. This stupid person, what he did with energy was that it went up 40, 50, 60%. That affects everything. Everything. If you make donuts, everything is more expensive. It's so bad. When you look at food prices now, where it's gone up by double and triple and quadruple, And you can never get that back, but we're going to get it way down, I promise you. And we're going to bring your energy so low, we're going to bring your energy prices so low that other things will follow. And that's what happened. It's very simple. Instead of trying to have corrupt prosecutors fight his battles, what he's doing, he's incompetent. And what he's doing, and it's not, I don't believe it's even him. I think it's the people that want to keep their jobs around him. They're communists. They want to keep their job because I don't think he has any clue. I don't think he has any clue. So listen, we have a little, look at this one. That's for him. It's slight. I call it slight. See the podium? I'm calling on crooked Joe Biden to debate anytime, anywhere, any place. Right there. And we have to debate because our country is going in the wrong direction so badly. And while it's a little bit typically early, we have to debate. We have to explain to the American people what the hell is going on. Because they're looking at the border and they're looking at inflation and they're looking at the economy, which is terrible. They're looking at every single aspect of our country. They look at the fact that the world is laughing at our leader and laughing at us. And just 4 years ago was the exact opposite. We were the most respected country in the world. We were the most respected that we were ever respected. We were never more respected than we were 4 years ago. It's no wonder Joe Biden and his thugs, that's all they are. They're weak thugs. They're so desperate to stop us. They know that we are the only ones who can stop them. And all of this persecution of Donald Trump, I don't mind. I'm doing it for you. I'm doing it for you. But all of this persecution is only happening because I'm running for president and leading very big in the polls. We're leading so big, they're going crazy. They are going crazy. In the Wall Street Journal, they just came out with a poll. We're leading big in a place called, have you ever heard of Pennsylvania? And nationwide, we're leading by 4 points, 6 points, 9 points, 11 points. We're leading by a lot. Now, they cheat, so we have to give ourselves a lead. They cheat like hell. And when you see them cheating, you get out there and start screaming. Start screaming. The radical left Democrats rigged the presidential election in 2020, and we're not going to allow them to rig the presidential election of 2024. Every time the radical left Democrats, Marxists, communists, and fascists indict me, I consider it a great badge of honor because I am being indicted for you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Never forget, our enemies want to take away my freedom because I will never, ever, ever let them take away your freedom. I will not let it happen. That's what they're trying to do. They want to silence me because I will never let them silence you. And in the end, they're not after me. They're after you. And I just happen to be standing in their way, and I always will be in their way. So job number one is going to be, and as soon as we take office, we will seal the border. Is that okay? And we're going to stop the invasion and send Joe Biden's illegal aliens back home. We had the safest border, the most secure border in the history of our country 4 years ago. The safest border in the history of our country. There are charts out that just came out from Homeland Security, if you can believe that. And I don't know where the hell your border is. Put it up instead of the back of my head. I'd love to have that chart. But it shows that the lowest number ever of illegal immigrants coming in was my last week in office before this very, very, very horrible president took over. You know, one thing good about it, though, Jimmy Carter's a nice man. Jimmy Carter looks like a brilliant president by comparison to crooked Joe Biden. Crooked Joe Biden, he is the worst. Jimmy Carter is a happy man. Oh, hey, that's a good staff. I didn't think that fine, that one. That's the one. See the arrow on the bottom? That's exactly when I went. See the number? That's the lowest number in the history of our country, the week that I went out. And then look at, after that, it looks like a rocket ship. It's a rocket ship of illegal immigrants and people that we have no idea where the hell they come from. People don't even know the names of the country. The people coming here don't even know the names of the country from which they came. And you see the right-hand side when it goes up? If you extend the chart a little bit, we could modernize it a little bit, add another 25%. There has never been anything like it. In Venezuela, violent crime is down 67% because they're taking their gangs and their thugs and their criminals and dumping them all across the United States of America. How about that? How about that? They're sending prisoners, murderers, drug dealers, mental patients, and terrorists, the worst anywhere in the world. These are the only thing good about their criminals is they make our criminals like nice people. Because our criminals, I think, are much nicer than their criminals. But, you know, people think, oh, isn't it wonderful the migrants are flowing in? These migrants are coming from mental institutions, insane asylums. They're terrorists. They're coming from prisons and jails. There's a little difference. They're coming from prisons and jails by the millions. Are we crazy to take this? This man, what he has done, you know, I say it often. I say it at the rallies. This is a nice rally, by the way. This is a hell of a rally. I just heard there are 42,000. You know, we expected maybe, because it's freezing, right? It's freezing. I'm freezing my ass off up here. At least they could have given me a little bit of a heater underneath this. They gave me nothing. See, they take advantage. My own people take advantage of me. They gave me nothing. But it's one of those things, isn't it? But, you know, we expected maybe 10,000 people. We have 42,000 people tonight. 42,000. As far as the eye can see, I wish the fake news media would turn those cameras. Look at all those cameras. Wow. 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 Wow, that's a lot. You know what? I wish they'd turned those cameras back, and all the way back as far as the eye can see, you have people, and I hate like hell to give them the prime spot, the media, because they don't deserve. Look where that goes back to. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of people. But they never turn the cameras. You know what? Even our so-called friends, I won't get into it, who's our so-called friend, they never turn the cameras. And I always thought, I'd say, please turn the camera, show the crowd. You'd think that would be good for, like for television purposes. Positive, they're showing these big crowds. They never want to show that we have these giant crowds because they don't like it, because they don't want us to win, because they're basically progressive. They don't use liberal anymore. They don't like the term. They call it progressive. I think progressive is a beautiful word, but it doesn't apply to them. It doesn't. It's too good a word. So we'll call them liberal. But they're liberal. And they don't want to do it. And you know what? I thought when I first started this, they wouldn't. I'd say, turn around and show the crowd, show the crowd, show the crowd. And look at all these cameras. So we had all these cameras from day one. We never had an empty seat. We literally, figuratively speaking, because we don't have too many seats, we have people standing. But we never had an empty spot. We never had an empty seat. I'd say, show the people behind you, show all the people. They wouldn't do it. And then a fight broke out in the darkest, deepest corner of the place, a fight. And those cameras turned around like a pretzel. They could do it. I thought they were just stuck. It was steel. The cameras turned around like a pretzel to show the fight, because that's a bad thing. But people are coming from the Congo. Last night, we had 20 people come. Welcome to our country from the Congo. Where do you live in the Congo? We live in prison. Oh, that's right. They released them from prison. I don't think they wanted to ask what they did, but they're coming in from Africa. Well, a lot of people coming in from Yemen. We're bombing Yemen because this idiot wants to bomb people. He likes to bomb people. You can solve the problem with a phone call if they respect you. They're coming from Somalia. They're coming from Syria. They're coming from all over the place. What is disconcerting, we have 31,000 people over the last few months, Mr. Congressman and Mr. Congress. We got a lot of great congressmen here tonight. We have senators, we have congressmen, we have governors. And it's so cold, I don't think I'm going to even introduce them. But think of it. They're coming in from China, 32,000 over the last few months, and they're all military age, and they mostly are men. And it sounds like to me, are they trying to build a little army in our country? Is that what they're trying to do? And Biden doesn't know because the guy doesn't have a clue. This is country changing, this is country threatening, and it's country wrecking. They're destroying our country, they're wrecking our country. As a citizen, I demand that Joe Biden close the border immediately. Close it. Close the border, Joe, you can do it. He doesn't need Congress. As president, I never had Congress tell me to close the border. I closed the border. Again, the best border, the safest border in the history of our country. I built 571 miles of wall. I got Mexico to give us thousands of soldiers free of charge to protect us while we were building the wall. We were going to add 200 miles of wall, and then we had a rigged election, and he took over. And you know what he did? He sold. All of it was, all you had to do is, it would have been done in 3 weeks. He sold it for 5 cents on the dollar. He sold our beautiful wall panels. People want our country. It's true, though. Can you imagine that? That's when I realized this guy actually believes. Think of the things they believe in. High taxes. They're going to quadruple your taxes. They're going to destroy your Social Security because all of these people putting in are going to make it impossible for them to service Social Security. You're not going to have Social Security. Biden is killing your Social Security and your Medicare. But think of little things like, for instance, he wants to have men play in women's sports, okay? Now, I don't use it. I mean, I think it's terrible, but I just say, from a common sense, isn't it ridiculous? I'm always embarrassed when I say, and I will stop men from playing in women's sports. Who the hell would care? Did you see the weightlifting record the other day? I mean, I don't want to get into it. It's very demeaning to women, and I love women more than I love anything. I love them. But it's very demeaning. A record that stood for years and years. They couldn't beat it. They just couldn't do it. They'd put like a half an ounce on one side. They'd put a half an ounce on that barbell, and that woman got up, and she's a champ, and she couldn't do it. She just couldn't. And Mom and Dad, it was very sad. Mom and Dad are in the front row, but they put a little bit on one side, a little bit in the other. It was a world record, stood for a long time. And then what happened? The guy comes up who happened to change his gender, right? Gender, proper word, right? They said, have you lifted before? No, I haven't. Oh, well, give it a shot. He goes like this. Bing, 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 bing. I think he broke the record by 129 pounds, didn't he? Like 120. For years, they couldn't do an ounce. Half an ounce, half an ounce. They couldn't do an ounce. He broke the record by 129 pounds. Are we crazy? How about the swimmer? She's a world-class swimmer, and she was badly injured, as you know, badly injured. She was a top swimmer. She grew up with the top swimmers all over California, all over the country, and she wanted to break that record. She was going to break it, too. She was close. She looked left just before the whistle went off. She looked left, and there was people she's grown up with for 15 years. She swam against them. She looked right, and there were people for 15 years she swam against them. She knew every one of them. They were all good, but she was better. But then she looked to her very right here, and there was this giant human being, a man who about 3 weeks before was a man. But now he's a woman. And she was seriously injured. You know why, right? Because he went by her so fast that the wind burn was just more than she could take. They immediately took her to the hospital. She suffered massive wind burn from the speed at which he went by her. And she was trying to break the record by 1/10 of 1 second. He broke the record by 37 seconds. Are we crazy? Is it crazy, really? Just this week it was reported that an illegal athlete, and you just look at this, what's happening. But it was reported that an illegal alien migrant from Afghanistan who's on the terror watch list was released into the United States along with many other terrorists by crooked Joe Biden, despite being a member of a terrorist group which is responsible for the slaughter of American troops in Afghanistan. He was looked for all over the world. They're looking for him. And he's in our country now, and we're looking for him. Isn't that wonderful? He should never have been here. You know, I had a report that came out recently, and it was on, I think it was on Deface the Nation. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Donald Trump on Deface the Nation. But I think it was Deface the Nation or Meet the Fake Press. And it showed charts, and it actually had I think it was 2019, that was one of my years, terrorists into our nation, 0. It actually said 0. I don't even believe that. I mean, I want to believe it, but that's hard to believe, right? But it actually said 0. And then you go into 2021, 2022, and they had thousands of people pouring in, terrorists. But it actually said 2019, 0. 0. I don't believe that, but I know it was very low because we really watched it closely. We watched it like nobody has ever watched it, and I was very proud of that. It's probably the only time they ever said anything that was actually better than the fact, right? Right here in eastern Pennsylvania, you had an illegal alien criminal who murdered a woman in Chester County, stabbing her 38 times in front of her 7-year-old daughter and her 4-year-old son. A violent criminal. He was a violent person. Then in September, that same illegal alien escaped from Chester County prison and prowled through suburban communities. You all know about him. Hiding in backyards, breaking into homes until he was found with a stolen gun, and he was ready to do massive damage all over your community. Joe Biden's border bloodbath. That's what it is. It's a bloodbath, a word that they misrepresented. His border bloodbath ends the day I take the oath of office. We will stop the plunder, the rape, the slaughter, the destruction of American suburbs and cities and towns. We will end deadly sanctuary cities. You know, the Democrat mayors want to all end them, but they don't want to, really take on because they end up getting indicted. You know, they go after these people. When they go against D.C. establishment, they end up getting indicted. So the Democrat mayors don't like sanctuary cities, but they're afraid to get indicted. I will shift massive portions of federal law enforcement to immigration enforcement. We will enforce our immigration laws stricter and stronger than anybody has ever done, including me. We will impose a naval blockade on the cartels. You know, when we stopped them on land, they're very rich. They had ships, the most beautiful ships you've ever seen. I mean, these guys are loaded, nothing but cash, and they were having boats and ships on the ocean. The Gulf, come in through different ways. They're very ingenious. The only thing they understand is strength. They understand strength, and it'll all stop. You know, when I met with President Xi of China, I said, do you have a drug problem? No, we have no drug problem. Why is that? Quick trial. I said, tell me about a quick trial. When they catch the seller of drugs, right, the purveyor of drugs, they immediately give them, the drug dealers, they immediately give them a trial. It takes one day. At the end of that day, if they're guilty, which they always are, according to people that study this, I don't think anybody has never been guilty. Within one day, that person is executed.